Okay guys, I want to do a video about this Speedway adapter plate that's supposed to allow you to put a BOP, Buick, Olds, Pontiac, and I think Cadillac too, but it's sold as a Buick, Olds, Pontiac to Chevrolet engine adapter, and they say you can also use it the opposite way around, where you can put a Chevrolet transmission on the back of a BOP engine. Problem was, they don't really come with instructions. Okay, so you think that it would be simple logic as to how you're supposed to bolt this thing on and what would make it actually safe and strong, but I don't know. There has to be better, higher quality made adapters out there on the market. Now this one only costs $40, so you can't, I'm not going to complain a great deal, but I did want to point out to anybody who's trying to use one, they don't come with instructions, and you have to pick the best way that you can configure to bolt this thing on so that your transmission is going to be safe. Alright, now this is going to take a little bit of, you're going to have to bear with me, because you're looking at the mating surface of the transmission and adapter to the back of the LS engine. So the problem we're having is on the passenger side, the LS engine doesn't have this Chevrolet hole, and this hole isn't drilled and tapped into the block as well. So if you look at the back of your LS engine, now I can only say for sure 4853 like I have, I'm going to assume the 6-liter blocks are going to be cast the same way, but the problem you're going to have is this area on your LS block isn't drilled and tapped. This boss that's up on the back of the LS engine is not drilled and tapped. So you start looking at your available holes, what you want to do and how you're able to do it, because you can't attach the adapter to your transmission bell housing and then put these bolts in, you know what I'm saying, like in the order of events. When you're going to install your transmission, you can't bolt this thing on, then put this on at a later date because it's inside the bell housing. So then you start using your cost analysis. Okay, which one of these are going to be safe? Which one of these are going to give me my best combination of attachments to make this work? Because if you look online, it says you can't do this, that it doesn't work with an LS engine, but I believe that it will work with an LS engine, and I want to show you where I come up with my idea or my hypothesis. I apologize for how I had to set up the camera today, but the weather has again turned not great, in the lower 40s with a wind chill in the 30s. The sun is not out and the wind's blowing hard enough that I can't have the camera exposed to the wind, so I've got it set up as best as I could in the back of the Blazer so I can show you what's going on with this transmission. So let me show you your available holes. Okay, now when you look at this Speedway adapter, you're going to have these two bottom holes. These are universal. They're going to be the same between a Chevrolet or a BOP. Your bottom corners are the same. Where they start to differ is here. So what will happen is, this is your Pontiac hole. This is your Chevy holes on your, what I call the ears, upper ears. Then normally you would have your upper bolts, and then a Chevrolet has a 7th hole bolt right here that a lot of people don't even use, but I wished this adapter had that raised provision for that hole, because on the back of the LS block you've got this hole So having this hole on the LS block as well would give you a little bit more stability in how you bolt this thing on. So what I've done is basically I called it a cost analysis, but I'm going to change that to like a what's going to hold my transmission on the back of the engine the best analysis. So basically this is what I've come up with. What I've done is I've taken a metric grade 12.9, which is a super strong Allen head bolt, bolted the adapter to the bell housing with a, I'm not going to say it's locking, but it was kind of a slightly self-locking factory metric nut with red Loctite. And I mean, I cranked those down to where the nut started to dig into the aluminum with the addition of the red Loctite. This will securely hold the adapter to the bell housing, okay? Now follow me on this. This is where we get our holding clamping pressure. You're going to be able to use the bottom bolt on this side, which is your passenger side. This ear bolt that you're going to be able to use is basically an extension of this. Because your adapter plate is rigid and bolted to the bell housing, this is just an extension of this. So you're basically going to be at 1, 2. The problem lies, there's no way to use these holes unless you drill and tap your block. I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. Now keep in mind, this is purely an extension of this bolt. You know what I mean? So you're just moving it over via the adapter. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's going to be 5 bolts, which is pretty common. Sorry about that. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty because the windshield is 30 degrees, God forbid. It shut itself off. I'm trying to get you guys out of the wind. But my iPhone, if it gets cold, it literally will shut itself off. So that's awesome. So basically, I just wanted to follow up or finish up talking about the drain plug kit that I bought at Advance Auto Parts for like $4 or $5. It's 65241 is the add a drain universal drain transmission plug kit. It's like $4.05 with tax or plus tax. And here, I'm gonna try to block the wind for you guys. Basically what I've done, because I'm not going to be running the Turbo 400 speedometer, I'm using GPS as my speedometer on this build. So basically I just did a quick search online, and they told me that 1 and 15/16 freeze plug seals the hole in the tail housing where your speedometer cable goes, so that you can seal that off if you're not going to be running a mechanical speedometer. I end up having to go to the Dorman freeze plug charts and find my own part number. It is a 555040. That is just a huge, large, heavy gauge washer that I set down inside of the freeze plug so that I could use the largest socket I had in my toolbox, which was like 1 inch and 1/16 and a 1/2 inch extension with a large hammer to seat that freeze plug in there with just a little bit of red RTV, or I think it's ultra copper is what I actually had in my stupid toolbox. Hopefully this video is not too jumpy and you can follow along with what I was talking about as far as how I'm going to secure the transmission to the back of the LS engine. I'm going to add that drain plug kit to my transmission pan on the Turbo 400, and I'm not running the speedometer, so I've got the hole in the back of the transmission securely sealed with a 555-040 1 and 15/16 freeze plug. So that's where I'm at right now, still waiting on my torque converter to show up next week, and I'm waiting on the B&M Trans Pack to come in, because I do want to try to make a video on the installation of the Trans Pack into the Turbo 400 to be able to manually control the first gear shifting. A lot of people don't realize that the Turbo 400 has a first gear override, and if you don't have that specific model, it will shift itself out of first gear far before you want it to. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm praying that this wind is not showing up as bad as it could be on this video. I'm sorry for the kind of poor quality today, but the weather is really sucky. So thanks again for watching these videos. Please like, subscribe, and share.